Hey, podcast family, Mark Cole here, and welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Podcast. This is the podcast that adds value to leaders who multiply value to others. And today, we are adding value to you in a very special way. Now, if you're one of our YouTube followers and you're a video viewer of our podcast, you already know this is different. But if you are checking in by audio, today you are missing it because on the set already, I have two very special guests with me, Barbara Brown and Macy Delval. These two incredible leaders will join us for the application portion of this episode after John's lesson. And I am so glad you both are here. Now, John's lesson today is all about finding your passion and following and chasing after that passion. And these two amazing leaders work with the Maxwell Leadership Certified team as program advisors. Now, here's what that means in a nutshell. They help people do exactly that. Find passion and follow it. See, they help people become better as leaders, as coaches, as speakers, as trainers, and even entrepreneurs, and help them get back on track to pursuing their dreams. So they have been a part of bringing on board 43,000 certified coaches in 165 countries. So I cannot wait for our post-lesson discussion. Now, before we get there, I'd like to encourage you to download the bonus resource for this lesson. This is a fill-in-the-blank worksheet that accompanies John's lesson. So you can visit maxwellpodcast.com/passion and click the bonus resource button. We have a great lesson. John is ready to go. There's a great discussion going to happen after John's lesson. So grab a sheet of paper, grab that worksheet you downloaded, have a pen, and get ready because here is John C. Maxwell.
If you love to do what you do, it's not work. You know what I'm saying? I love to do what I do. And there are three classes of people. Number one, those who don't know what they'd like to do. And just beside that, put the word confused. How many of you know somebody just like that, huh? And that's true. They have no clue. You know what I mean? They just kind of get up in the morning and go through life, but nobody's home there either. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know what they'd like to do. Because you ask them, what would you like to do? And they just kind of look at you, and you get a blank face, and they don't have a clue. So the first class of people is the kind of person that they don't know what they'd like to do. The second class of person is they know what they would like to do, but they don't do it. And beside that, put frustrated. Because I know people just like that, don't you? In other words, they know what they'd like to do. In fact, they'll tell you what they like. I'd like to be this, or I'd like to do this. I'd like to go there. And you say, well, why aren't you there? And why don't you do that? And they don't. In other words, they know what they'd like to do, but they don't do it. They don't seem to, have the initiative, the energy, whatever it is takes to get to where they want to be. And so they kind of go through life knowing what they'd like to do, but never doing it. And so therefore, they're frustrated. Now, the third class of people, those who do what they'd like to do. And you can put beside that, fulfilled. They're fulfilled. They have a sense of significance and fulfillment in their life, and they're saying, I'm accomplishing something that brings worth to me, but also worth to others, and they really like to do what they do. Now, this lesson really is for class number two, the second class person. That's people that they know what they'd like to do, but they don't do it. And the whole lesson is, why not do what you'd like to do? So what I did is I sat down, and I began to ask myself, how can I help a person do what they'd like to do if they're not doing it? And I wrote down some questions, and I think these questions are going to really help that person. So let's get going. Do I like what I'm doing now? That's exactly where you start. And by the way, I just want to stop and say I'm amazed, because when I talk to people all the time, I'll say, do you like what you're doing? I run into a vast majority of people, they don't like what they're doing. They spend weeks, months, years working, doing something they don't like to do. Now, I don't know. I'm kind of a simple guy, you understand. Not real smart. So I always have a hard time figuring out, why would you spend your whole life doing something that you don't like to do? There's only one guarantee regarding a passion. If you don't follow it, you will have regrets. Isn't that powerful? There's only one guarantee regarding the passion. If you don't follow it, you will have regrets. So, in trying to get you placed where you need to be placed, the first question you need to ask yourself is, do I like what I'm doing now? If you do, hey, the rest of this lesson is going to be easy for you. You know what I mean? You just kind of lay back, take notes if you want. But if you'd look at yourself and say, no, what I'm doing now is not what I really would like to do, then let's get going, because we got more questions I want you to ask yourself. Question number 2, what would I like to do? What would I like to do? Horst Schultz, who's the former COO of the Ritz-Carlton, says, you are nothing unless it comes from your heart. Passion, caring, really looking to create excellence. If you perform functions and go to work only to do processes, then you are effectively retired. And it scares me. Most people I see by age 28 are retired. If you go to work only to fulfill the processes and functions, then you're a machine. You have to bring passion, commitment, and caring. Then you are a human being. Boy, that's so true. 3 questions I always ask people when I want to get acquainted with them. I ask them, what do you sing about? What do you dream about? What do you cry about? I want to know what makes you happy. I want to know what you really would like to be if you could have all your dreams fulfilled, and I want to know what hurts you, because that's where the passion is. Those questions pull out the passion in a person's life and let me know their heartbeat, and let me know if their heart still is beating, or as Horst would say, that they've just become a machine. Because here's what I know about passion. Passion is the great energizer. You show me a person with passion, I'll show you a person with energy. Isn't that true? When somebody comes up to me and they say, well, I'm just a low energy person, what they're really saying is, I have no passion. You show me a person that has passion, I'll show you a person that has energy. Passion creates energy. Not only is passion the great energizer, passion is the foundation for excellence. You show me a person that's passionate about what they do, and they want to do it well. They want to do it with excellence. And energy and excellence, that energy excellence factor, what that does is that equals success. And passion provides both of them. Let me give you a classic example, a personal example for a moment. When I was a kid, I was just a happy kid, okay? I just loved to play. I loved to play ball, had a lot of friends, strong relationship skills, really didn't take school very serious. And my parents were always concerned about me. You know what I mean? My grades weren't as good as my brother's grades, and I'd come home and they'd go see the teacher, and then their fears would be kind of relieved because the teacher would say, well, yeah, he doesn't really study real hard, but we really like him. And I was the teacher's pet. I had a great time with my schoolmates and teacher, but as far as really bearing down and working hard and getting good grades, that really wasn't my interest. Didn't have a job. All I wanted to do was play ball. You follow me? My brother, he worked hard. He had a job. I'd go borrow money from him all the time. I mean, you just have to understand. Larry, my brother, and I laugh a lot about it. You would never in a million years have thought that I would have done what I've done and been what I have become if you see me as a kid. You just thought this boy is going to die poor and happy. Then he died and went to heaven to be happy for a longer time. Not a heavy commitment, not a great desire to dig in and study. Now, here's why. All throughout high school, I realized that I wasn't yet preparing for what my calling was. Now, the moment that I graduated from high school and I went to college and began to study for my first degree, man, I started studying. I got serious. I got good grades. I got on the dean's list. And I became student council president. Now, what happened? It's very simple. The day I got to do or prepare for what I was going to want to do is the day I got passionate about studying. You follow what I'm saying? And until that time, no amount of coaxing or threatening from my parents ever would get me over that hump. I had to get into the place where I was getting ready to do what I really want to do. But the moment that I got in the area where my passion was, all of a sudden, things began to turn for me. And I believe that's the way it is with most people. I believe it is with most people. When they're not performing as they want to perform, or they're not operating on the level they want to operate, I think you got to stop and say, wait a minute, are you doing what you really want to do? Because when you do, it absolutely changes things. The greatest job is when you're confused about the difference between work and play. Now, I want to tell you something. I want to confess. I've been confused. I'm Mr. Leadership, and I'm confused. I'm confused. I can't tell when I'm working and when I'm playing because I absolutely love what I do. And so therefore, it's not a drain or it's not anything hard for me to do some of the things that I do because it's play to me. Work and play and work. And people say, well, don't you need to get away from your work? Well, no, not when it's fun. Why would you get away from something that's fun? You follow what I'm saying? Now, there's a lot of things I want to get away from. There's a lot of people I want to get away from. You can relate to that, can't you? Huh? I'm gone. Okay, so there are a lot of times I want to, be gone from somebody. But no, not my work. I love what I do. It's part of the process. So for many, many years, I've been confused because I love my work and I love my play. And after a while, you don't realize what play is and what work is. They're all together, okay? Question number 3. Can I do what I would like to do? Now, that's a great question. When I'm asking why am I not doing what I want to do, one of the things I have to do is I've got to ask myself, can I do what I like to do? Because this could be a problem, you understand? If you'd like to do something, but you really don't have the aptitude or the skill level to do it, now you're going to have some real frustrations. In fact, when we used to interview people, there were 2 questions I always wanted to ask people. One is, can you? And number 2, will you? Can you deals with ability. Will you deals with attitude. You follow me? There are a lot of people, they can, but they won't. If they can, but they won't, they're not going to do any good. So you got to ask yourself, can I do what I'd like to do? Earl Nightingale said it so well. Jobs don't have futures, people do. A lot of people come to you and say, well, does this job have a future? Not if you don't. You're the future. Quit trying to look for a better job. Become a better you. If you become a better you, you'll get a better job. Some of you, well, what do you think about this job? Will it take care of me the rest of the life? No job ever has. I don't think this one will. But will you take care of yourself the rest of your life? It's 2 total different deals. And I love the quote in your notes where it said, because this is so true, find something you like to do so much that you'd gladly do it for nothing. Then learn to do it so well that people are happy to pay you for it. That's the way. Don't worry about, well, you're going to pay me and what kind of benefits are there. No. Find something you'd love to do and do it so well and learn it so well and get a place of excellence with it so well that, well, they'll pay you to do it. That's where you want to go. Now, let me just stop here because this question, can I do what I'd like to do, is a question we've just got to be realistic about. Because every once in a while I run into people that say, well, just have a dream. Let me tell you something. If your dream does not match your abilities, it'll be a nightmare. And I see that all the time where people say, well, if you just have a dream, you can get to, no. You're on a trip and haven't moved. That's what you're doing. So let me give you 5 quick questions to ask for yourself to determine your abilities. Question number 1, do I have experience in my desired area? Whatever you're desiring to do I have experience there? Number 2, do I have any success in my desired area? I don't mean this wrong, but if all you have is failure in your desired area, life is telling you something. Number 3, do I have any training in my desired area? These are just questions to ask to determine where your skill and ability levels are. Number 4, do I know what is essential in my desired area? Do I know what the basic essentials are for me to be successful in this area? And number 5, do I know someone who is successful in my desired area? You just got to ask yourself, can I do what I'd like to do? Now, what I'm saying is, you got to ask yourself, can I do what I want to do? Because if you can't do what you want to do, lower your expectations or change your passion, or else you'll be frustrated all your life.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'll tell you, we've been sitting here as we listen to John in studio, as we always do. We consume. And I sit here with our producers and people that are making today possible, and I realize something, that passion lived out is contagious. And as John was teaching today about find your passion and follow it today in his notes, he didn't take the contagious, the reproducing quality of what passion will do when lived out. And so, Macy and Barbara, as I was sitting here and listening to that, I got a little overwhelmed because 43,000 coaches, I got it, all of you on YouTube, I'm holding my hands up going, wow. Those of you listening in, imagine an army and John having that vision and that dream, and to be honest with you, that passion, but yet that passion in and of itself would have never turned into 43,000 coaches, 43,000 trainers, speakers that's with Maxwell Leadership now. It takes women and men, and I think the reason I've had co-hosts in here with me every session, But I think the reason that I'm the most excited today is because to tell the story of impact of John's passion and now myself and our team's passion is because of women like you, men that join you to make this dream a reality, this passion. I say often, if you follow me on social media, you'll see that every once in a while I just get overwhelmed with what I get to do. Every once in a while I just get overwhelmed, Macy, Barbara, with getting to do it with you guys. And so all the time I go, hashtag love what I do, hashtag love who I do it with.
Yeah.
That's passion. And today I hope we can convey something that we as Maxwell Leadership have a tremendous passion to make a difference, not only in your life, but in the women and men that you influence that needs your life to be as meaningful as it was designed. And I'm sitting here with you, Barbara, I'm sitting here with you, Macy, and I'm realizing we call it a PA, that's internal language, it's a program advisor.
Yeah.
And what I really realize is that on a daily basis, you guys get to unlock the passion of others.
Yeah.
And John can teach it. He did a great job on the lesson today, but you guys live it. You apply it every single day. Here's what I'd love for you to, I'd love for you to share with myself, our audience, what does it mean to be a program advisor for Maxwell Leadership Certified Team? And Barbara, we'll go with you.
Yeah, well, the Maxwell Leadership Team is a unique program. It's unlike anything else. It's the one and only place where John Maxwell and the faculty team are coming together, pouring out their experience, training, content, resources for only Maxwell Leadership Team members. So when you join the program, you become a Maxwell Leadership Team member, and you have access to the team, the support. You're fully equipped. And as program advisors, we walk someone through the details, sharing what they're going to receive and how we are going to nurture them and support them and equip them. And it's a lifetime program. So,
hey, let me ask you this, Barbara. How long have you been a program advisor?
over 7 years.
7 years. Now, and I'm going to ask Macy the same question, but for all of you viewing or listening, let me tell you this right here. We just changed our name. And these incredible human beings, they've already got it all figured out. But half the time I'll say John Maxwell Team, I'll say Maxwell Leadership Team. Just forgive us. We've been doing this for a little bit of time, and we've changed it. But you've been with the John Maxwell Team, Maxwell Leadership now for over 7 years. Astounding. Tell me a little bit about your experience, what you get to experience with the program advisor.
Yeah, one of the things that I love to tell my clients when I talk to them over the phone is that we really do help people connect their passion and their purpose to this program. So that's what I say almost every single day, every single phone call. And when you were saying about, this ripple effect it almost always, and Barbara, you may agree with me, it usually doesn't have to do with the person that we're talking to. It has to do with all the people that they're going to inspire, that they're going to be able to change and affect and equip. So when sometimes people say, I'm not going to do this or I can't do it, but you have to. Yeah. Not for me, not for you, but for all the people that need to hear your voice. John's voice, we know, is heard all over the world. Your voice, same. Yeah. But there are people that you will never reach, that John will never reach, that Barbara and I will never reach. But the person that's on the phone with us, there's people waiting for them and their voice. That's why they have to join the team.
Anybody passionate around here? That's exactly right. How long have you been a program advisor?
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
That's
and it's interesting when we were talking pre-show about passion and doing things. I used to be the girl that would only hold a job for 2 years. On to next, board next, board next. So for me, since 2014, that means something, right? Obviously I'm passionate about what I do, or I wouldn't still be here.
Well, and we have dozens and dozens of program advisors, and I'm going to tell you today, visually or audibly, you are meeting a couple of our best. And so there's a reason you guys are on here, and it's because you live out that passion. I want you to take me into a story. And Macy, we'll start with you.
Okay.
But I want you to take me into a story of someone that you watched their passion become unlocked that became contagious.
It's hard to choose.
I know just one. I'm sorry.
It's hard to choose just one after doing this for 8 years. But one that comes to mind, and this is post-COVID, and what I have found, and Barbara, I don't know if you found the same thing, I'm finding post-COVID, people are really recognizing that they're not fulfilled, right? They're successful. They've had jobs that they've had for years and years and years, but there's that missing piece. And I think that this program allows them to feel that fulfillment. So I have a lady, she's been in law enforcement for 20-something years, facing retirement. And, you know, she wasn't sure if this was something that she wanted to do now or wait until retirement. And she said after speaking with me, she realized that that fulfillment, the only place she would be able to find it is through Maxwell Leadership. She said yes, and now she has a couple of other people on the force looking at the program because she's so passionate. It just shines through her. She's bringing a whole new perspective and just energy into law enforcement, which we know that they need right now. So
yeah, you know, it's interesting. In studio with us today, I wish you could meet Bill Hawley. He's here. He's one of our John Maxwell team members, been a part for, I think, 2016, 2018. And he's in with us today. He's why we do what we do, right?
Yes. We
unlock the passion. Yeah. He's been in the military a long time with the Department of Defense, doing all this stuff. And he was telling me, he connected me with somebody at IMC. We were just talking about this in the studio. He connected me with his family of 24. And he's telling me this story because he connected, then he went and caught a flight, and I was blown away, and I recognized for a second, an entire family, a dad caught the vision and brought in-laws, outlaws, ex-laws, all the laws, and brought every one of them into IMC, our International Maxwell Conference. And we highlighted it, and it was powerful. And while we were telling the story, Bill was telling me, Mark, I introduced you to him, and I went, yeah, I remember that. And Macy went, those are the people I worked with. And you were talking about this entire family that said, we believe in making a difference. We're going to invest in our entire family.
I mean, and it really was in-laws, outlaws, aunts, cousins, uncles. I mean, you name it, they were all there, and they just believe in this program so much so that they can bring it back to their community out west. So that's a cool story too.
So Barbara, you have unlocked the passion, literally, of over 1,000 women and men. Now, let me say this. Almost 1,000 have signed up in our program by Barbara alone, 1,700 by Macy. But that's not all the people you've unlocked the passion. Because think about the people that just can't quite can't write, there's not timing, it's just not the right thing. Right. Think about the conversations that you've had. Now I want you to tell us of a team member, Barbara, but you unlock the passion. You do what John taught us today, each and every day. So tell us the story about that.
Well, we're on a phone call with someone. They reach out to us because they are interested, they want to learn more. Or maybe they were referred by us. But when you get them on the phone and they have a passion, something that maybe I'm thinking about someone who, in particular, she had a lot of loss in her life, and she overcame that. She wanted to then turn that pain into a passion. So she started a nonprofit. She's writing a book. So having that conversation is the first step when someone comes to us is important. They deserve that individual attention on the phone with us so we can walk through the program and what we offered, how we support them. It's a pretty incredible experience for them.
So you got to tell me, Barbara, I mean, whether somebody says yes or no, when the light bulb, joining the team, I mean, when the light bulbs come on, and you hear them leaning in a little bit longer, is there anything better? And does it ever get old, unlocking the passion of these people?
It's the best job ever. It's incredible to have that. The people do inquire. They want to learn more, and then they don't always, like you've mentioned, they don't always come into the program because they're thinking about how to make it happen for them. But it's a pretty incredible opportunity for them to really, we nurture them and help them grow.
Yeah, when John was talking, he said, and I didn't hear him say this today, he says it often, he says, I love to work, I love to have fun, so I'm a workaholic. And I don't think he used that in today's podcast, but it's this concept that I can't get enough of what I do because I love what I do. There's just this enjoyment. You know, I went back to my first day when somebody invited me onto John Maxwell's team. And back then it was a different organization's name, but it was, for all intents and purposes, Maxwell Leadership. And I will tell you this right here. I walked into this environment, this Maxwell team. And I will tell you this in the area of passion. I've never worked another day in my life. I love what I do. I love who I do it with. It's given me so much. But I'll tell you one of the things that it gave me. It gave me permission to live out my passion.
Oh, I love that.
And you know what, John, guys, what John taught today, he says, do I like what I'm doing now? And you know, my heart goes out to hundreds of thousands of people listening to us today. And you know, a large percentage of them can't say what the three of us can say.
That's right.
They're not at a place, they don't say, yeah, I like what I do now. There's another question that John asked today. He said, what would I like to do? You know what's just as sad to me? There's a large percentage that's never asked themselves that question.
And I think when Barbara was just saying about the telephone calls, for some people, we're the first people that will ever ask them those types of questions. Right. They've never been asked before, what do you dream about? What do you sing about? Like John had said in the podcast. And I think for many people, that is why they connect with us, is because we're the people asking those questions. We give them the permission to live out their passion.
It's why I got really excited. And there's probably a better name that we'll change our names to down the road. But it's why I got really excited when we said we're program advisors, because we're just advising people how the program can help open up your passion. And so what I love about all of you, we was asking Barbara numbers just a while ago. She says, man, I just wake up every day and I just try to convince one. I don't count all the numbers. And then me and Mace are saying, we count every number, man.
Every number.
Exactly. But here's the point. No matter how you are in your approach to it, we all share one thing. And it's what I think we share as Maxwell podcast listeners and viewers. And that is, we desire to live our best life by pursuing success and significance. But I do want to go to the people that might be listening today that are in that frustrating part that John talked about. He said, can I do what I would like to do? And sometimes that creates this frustration. That's what he talked about. I want to ask you guys a question. And Barbara, we'll start with you. What advice would you give for those who are in this frustrated category? You've talked to a lot of people, and I want to qualify you from being able to answer this question, okay? You talk to a lot of people looking for a life change every single day, more than I do, more than the studio group here does. You talk to a lot of people. So now with that qualification, what do you say to these people? What's advice that you give for the people that might be listening that's in that frustrated category?
Well, I would ask them I'd ask them questions. What do they think is holding them back? Mm-hmm. It could be fear of uncertainty, stepping out into the unknown. There's so much comfort in the familiar. Also, it could be maybe they're easily influenced by the opinions of others. And maybe they also don't know the how to get to where they want to grow and go. And then also belief in themselves. That's why Maxwell Leadership Team is so incredible for people who, just to outline and to show them that we have a roadmap to success. Mm-hmm. There's also a huge environment here of belief, so that, they are surrounded and belief is contagious. So I would say, we're only here for a short time. Yeah. Let's make the most of it. And if you don't, walk towards your passion, you'll have regrets, like John says.
Yeah. What would you add to that? As a person that's in the frustrated category.
Yeah, just ask them, what would they need? What tools, resources, what do you need to walk into your passion? Because almost guaranteed we have what they need. Yeah. I mean, we have this unbelievable team, amazing faculty. I mean, the team alone, I think sometimes we forget to talk about how great this environment is, because it's one of those things that positivity breeds positivity. Passion breeds passion. When you are in an environment of people that are doing significant things, you can't help but want to do those significant things too. Yeah, absolutely. And you need that around you, especially like Barbara was saying, if they have people in their life that don't support them, it's unfortunate, but we can help them because we have people that will for sure support them.
You're touching on something that I've watched John touch on all of his life. I've been with him 22 years now. Just a few days ago, actually, I celebrated 22 years, and I've watched John never go it alone. Now, he's pretty good. I mean, he's written 86 different books. He's sold 36 million copies. He's doing pretty good, but he makes a decision: I will never not belong to a community. I've said it often on this podcast. I say it often wherever I am. I believe there's something that bonds all of us together. We want a guide, somebody that can help us get where we want to go,
Yes.
and we want a tribe. We want to belong to some people that's going in the same direction. And you're touching on this guide or this tribe thing that I want to come to in just a moment. But I'll say this for me as I listen to John today. My top 5 values, we have an exercise that we take people through, especially in corporate environments, that helps them identify their top values. And in my top 5 values is passion. And passion. I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing well and worth doing with a lot of enthusiasm. So as John was talking about this, finding your passion and following it, what I think I love the most about IMC, which is an internal acronym for the International Maxwell Conference, when I think about what happens when we get in that environment and we see people step into these people are crazy, and I'm one of them,
Right.
but they're crazy, guys. Talk to me a little bit about that tribe feeling that you get when you get to IMC. And Macy, we'll start with you.
I was telling Heather before the show, my husband joined the team actually 6 months before I became a certified member, and he was at the
Does that mean he's
conference.
the smart one?
Well, I don't know. we'll leave that up for debate. But he was texting me while he was there, and I was home with young kids, and texting me, "Oh my God, this is amazing. These people are so great. You can't believe it." And it was like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? It was wah, 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 wah. And then fast forward 6 months, I joined and I was like, "Oh my God, why didn't you tell me? This is amazing. These people are awesome. How come you know?" He's like, "But I did tell you." And unfortunately, I think it's one of those things that unless you're there, unless you're in the room, and whether you do it virtually, because we now offer it virtual for our peeps as well, but it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But we invite all of the listeners to join us because it is unbelievable. And I have yet to miss one since 2014. It's one of those things. It's on my calendar, and I will never miss.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about your perspective of IMC and the tribe.
It's the coming together. People look forward to it. Of course, there's so much more to the Maxwell Leadership Team than the event, but everyone looks forward to it. Seeing the just coming, you feel like a family. It's you're part of the family. You're part of the team, and you feel it. And they have lifelong friends that they connect with at their table. It's the experience, it's the energy. It's there's so much at that event that's much more, and everyone has that common goal of they're people of value and they want to add value.
Absolutely.
And they're passionate about what they do. And they're excited, and it's also great for us to meet the people that we've
real rewarding
had a conversation with to lead them to that place. And people come back again and again. They're always invited as alumni to attend future events.
Well, I want to hear one more thing from you guys before we sign off today. But some of you are already going, "Okay, I got it. There's something you guys want us to do." You're right. I want you to go to maxwellleadership.com/join the team. 2 things are going to happen when you go to maxwellleadership.com/join the team. You're going to get more information about a passionate group of people. The second thing you're going to get to do is you're going to get to fill out a form and get to talk to somebody that, yes, will tell you how to join the team because we want you to, but even more importantly, you're going to talk to somebody that's going to help you unlock your passion. It's going to help you lift your passion. It's going to help you live in your passion. And I know you, I know the team that you represent today, and all of these are women and men that are committed to one thing every single day when they wake up. I want to unlock the passion in people's lives. And I'm going to honor you guys in just a moment because I can't believe I get to call you teammates. I really can't. But any other takeaways from John's lesson? We've talked a lot about the team and you unlocking passion, but you guys are passionate people.
Yeah.
I've just watched you. And so we'll start with you, Barbara, but just anything else you'd like to say about what John taught and even your thoughts on passion.
You have to follow your passion or you will have regrets. And prepare for tomorrow. And we have today. So I wouldn't hesitate to, jump into Maxwell Leadership Team to be fully supported and equipped with what you need for working towards your goals and your purpose and your passion.
Beautiful. Macy?
And I would say, like you had mentioned, the majority of people listening might be in that frustrated place, but frustrated no more, right? Once you say yes to even the phone call, there's no obligation. It's not like, we're not in the convincing business. I always tell my clients, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to present you an opportunity that you deserve. I mean, you deserve this opportunity to fill out the form, pick up the phone, have a conversation, allow us to help you paint the vision of what that passion could really be like when you live it out. Because it's bottled in there for some people. That's why they're frustrated, but we could help them explore what that looks like.
Yeah, number one, both Barbara and Macy, both coaches first, signed up first, and then became program advisors because we just believe in products of the product. But if today's subject on the podcast, if the product of today's podcast was anything, it's the product, it's the subject of passion. And I think about this concept of being a product of the product, of really making sure that we live out and help people pursue the passion that's locked up in some cases within them. For others, it's there. They just don't know the outlet to get it. Yeah. And then there's others that they know that they can do it and they know that they're passionate now, but they know there's more. We call that significance. Success is what happens to you. Significance is what happens through you. And so 43,000 coaches, 165 countries, really three commonalities that may connect with you. One, they all desire to grow. In fact, some of them don't even want to start a business. They just want to be in a community with a guide that'll help them grow more. Others, like I've already said, they grow the team or they join the team because, hey, I want to become a coach, speaker, trainer, an entrepreneur that is helping others, and I want a business. I want to get paid to do that. And then finally, there's those that says, hey, I really kind of like what I do now. I would answer the question. I like what I'm doing now. I've already asked the question, what would I like to do? And I'm kind of in that mode. I'd like to grow my influence, my income. I'd like to become a little more influential in my organization, but I'm kind of there. And what we've found is those three avatars, those three people groups fit so many people, the 43,000 plus that has talked to us about joining the team, really kind of fit in that category. But it all starts with conversations with you guys that kind of unlocks that passion. So I do want to invite you today to join the team, to check us out, to talk to a passion unlocker.
That's our new name.
A passion unlocker, somebody that will accelerate your ability to be the person you were designed to be. 2 great days in a person's life. The day you were born, the day you talked to Macy and Barbara. That's the answer. I mean, that's the 2 great days in so many people's lives. In fact, if you think about it, 5% of our signed up coaches has come from you two.
Good job, sis.
Yes, sis. Yes, sis. Hey, and also, please leave us a comment on how wonderful my teammates did. You guys just nailed it today, and I'm so proud of you. They thought we were going to have to do a bunch of takes and retakes, and Jake, you got very little work to do, my friend, because the passion that came out of my team today is something that I'm so grateful for. We want you to be a part of the team. Hey, leave a comment. Tell us how we're doing on the podcast. In fact, today I like doing what I always do. And I have a comment from a listener that says, hello. In fact, it's Louis from Mexico City. Louis said, hello, I've been listening to this podcast since 2019. And sometimes I listen to some episodes more than once. Now, Louis, I got to ask you, are you hoping we get better the second time? I'm trying to figure out, Louis. No, I'm just kidding. Louis says, because I don't want to lose anything. Mm-hmm. Thanks for what you are doing. I really believe this podcast adds value to me and makes me want to multiply my value to others.
Is Lewis part of the team, I wonder?
I don't know. He needs to tell us if he is, but I'll tell you this. He is a part of the podcast family, and I'm thankful, Lewis, for you and so many others that feel just like Lewis. And we hope you'll join the team. You've already joined the podcast family. We want to do great things around the world with you. Until next week, let's listen, let's learn, let's share some love, and then let's lead.